remember Tampa, the way she used to be, the places we would run to, the faces we would see. Yes, I remember Tampa, those precious memories. A city rising on the move, a simple yet progressive groove. I remember Tampa, and she remembers me. Yeah. She remembers me.
Welcome to the Tampa Native Show. Stay tuned now for the fastest 60 minutes in cable broadcast history. Live from the studios at TBCN, the home of the Tampa Native Show. Join your hosts, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella, as they celebrate growing up in Tampa. From Shock Armstrong to Shakey's Pizza, from Braddock Street to Buffalo Avenue. Get ready to call in and tell us your stories, because sharing your memories has never been this much fun. And now, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella.
She remembers me.
Hi, Tampa Native Show fans. You know it's Thursday night and it's 7 o'clock, and we're so happy you're there with us again. My name is Mario Nunez, and as always, I'm seated alongside my broadcast partners,
Sally Nunez,
the 15-Minute Girl, and right over there,
Steve Canella, a.k.a. Tampa Steve.
Our very own Tampa Steve. And in just a few minutes, we're going to be joined in studio by City Councilman Harry Cohen. He's got some rich stories to share with us tonight. And you know, for those of you that have been following us this week on Facebook, you know that we kind of left that up to kind of a mystery. We wrapped a mystery around our segment this week. Yeah, who was going to be in studio with us, or what was our topic going to be? Well, now you know. It's going to be City Councilman Harry Cohen, and he's sitting just off camera. Can't wait to get at us. And we've got some great stories to share with you. Before we do that, as we always do, we want to say hello to our sponsors. Thank you very much, one and all, for being there. You know, if it wasn't for your contributions and your donations, your love, your affection, and of course that checkbook, we wouldn't be here. So we want to thank you so much. And for those of you that may not know about our sponsors, Stevie, how can they find our sponsors?
Well, definitely you can find us at tampanativeshow.com. When you get there, click on Visit Our Sponsors, and you'll see the whole page of who's sponsoring the show. I think you'll find it very interesting, actually.
Yeah.
That's right. And as a 15-minute girl will have you know, darling, you want to tell them what else to do with that sponsor page once they get there?
Click on the sponsor tab, and then visit our sponsors and tell them the Tampa Native Show saying.
There you go. Visit our sponsors, and once you get in there, open that door, swing that door open, and say, "We're here for the Tampa Native Show. What you got for us?" Thank you, guys. Thanks so much for that.
And thanks to our fans as well.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we've got the best fans. And, I know we do. Jackie Gleason used to say it all the time, the Miami Beach audience is the greatest audience in the world. But you know what? I'll tell you what, we've got some pretty good audience members as well. We're getting your Bolita numbers, as we always do. Steve's got his computer right there in front of him.
Got some already.
So thanks to those who have already sent those in. We're going to open up our phone lines once we get to talking with Harry in just a couple of minutes. Let's get some announcements out of the way real quick, real soon.
Some housekeeping, right?
Some housekeeping, as we always do, and some big announcements, because we've got a lot of things coming up. It's hard to believe. Today is already August 22nd. In another week, it's going to be Labor Day.
It's going to be Christmas in 2 weeks.
Stop, Steve. Once they kick it off, and I mean that, once the NFL starts its season, and we have the NFL on Sundays, it just goes week 1, week 6, week 15, it's New Year's Eve, and what happened to the end of the year? Well, we've got some events that we need to announce currently. So you need to get your pencil and paper out and put this on your calendar, because we want each and every one of you to be there with us. Okay, the Bucks game on September 29th is still available to us. We had a conversation today. We've got a group that's going to be going. If you'd like to go, that event is already up on our Facebook page. So go to our Tampa Native Show Facebook page and look for that event. If you still want to participate, we'd love to have you join us. That's September 29th. Then on November 2nd, there's that shirt. Thank you so much, Eric, for putting that on there. And I want to show that to you because it's important. That September 29th game is going to be against the Arizona Cardinals. And what's going to make that game real sexy, they're playing in their original orange Bucco Bruce
throwback shirt,
throwback jerseys, throwback uniforms, and it's going to be a lot of fun. That shirt we created specifically for this event.
And I can't wait to get one of those.
So if you're going to be going with us, you're going to be getting one of those shirts. Now, I'm not saying if you don't go with us, you can't have one of those shirts, but you may not get it right away, if you know what I mean. So join us. That's September 29th. November 2nd, this just came up on the schedule this week. November 2nd, we're going to be doing, and I'm so proud to announce this, a benefit concert, again for the Tampa Native Show. Our dear friends at Cuckoo Cachoo, Rodney Justo, and Roy Garcia, and Robin Sibicow. That wonderful, wonderful band is going to be doing a benefit concert for us, along with Ray Villadonga and Ray Zilla's Dreamboats at El Centro Asturiano. That's November 2nd. And we're going to announce all the details here coming up. It's going to be a concert, and there's going to be
some great music.
There's going to be some adult beverages, some libations, and wonderful. If you haven't seen these two bands, you need to be there with us.
Really
and thank you so much for both of those bands agreeing to do this for us. Wonderful, wonderful. That's November 2nd. Okay, and December 31st, we're going to end the year with a bang. December 31st, we're going to have a little New Year's Eve dance party. Okay, and that's going to be at the Italian Club. Details to follow. So let's do it again from the top. September 29th is our Bucks game. November 2nd, Steve, this is a quiz, pop quiz.
Centro Asturiano.
Very good. And December 31st, 15-minute girl?
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve dance party.
Hey, we passed.
You passed with flying colors.
Easy.
There you go. So we'd love to have you join us. And if you'd like to, all of that information will be up on our Facebook page very, very soon. Click attending. We'll let you know where to send your money so that you can get your tickets in advance.
Right.
We can't wait to party with our Tampa Native Show fans. Stevie, you got anything else up there? That
you know what?
Any other tricks up your sleeve you need to get rid of there?
Got a little special announcement here.
Oh, please.
Tonight, got an email from Mike Beluha.
All right.
Guess what? They're watching the show tonight, and it's Julian's 13th birthday today. So we want
There
to give
it
a big
is.
shout out.
Happy
Birthday, Julian.
Julian.
Happy birthday, Julian. You know,
That's
and
something,
good.
huh?
And I said that to him today, just I made a comment. You know, Julian, we've been watching him grow literally
it's amazing.
before our
Yes,
eyes.
Yeah.
yes, it's
I
amazing.
mean, about 3 weeks ago, the kid was like, he was little, and then he had these glasses.
He wasn't very little.
And no, it was never really little, but you know what I mean. Then all of a sudden, it's like, is that Julian? You know, he's 6'1",
No.
he's 160 pounds, he's lost the glasses, he looks like a young man, grown man already.
Getting really handsome.
the question is, what are they feeding him?
I don't know, but I want some and I need some. The truth be told, he's in Little League still.
Yeah.
He's in his last year of Little League, and I'll be honest with you, if I had to face that kid,
I'd be
Scary.
nervous.
I'd be terrified.
Yep.
He's a big boy. Congratulations on your 13th.
birthday.
Welcome
Happy
to your teenage
birthday,
years,
Julian.
Julian. It's only going to get better, man. You got some great parents and great
Yes,
family
you
all
do.
around you.
Absolutely.
All right, Stevie. You know, show@tampanatives.com. That's our email address. Show@tampanatives.com, so you can send in your emails, your questions for Harry. If you can't get in once we open up the phone line, the the call-in line is 813-977-6800. Our fans pretty much know that by heart.
They have it memorized.
now.
Hopefully.
And of course, our comment line after the show if you can't get in, or if you want to call in and you have a question or a comment, cheers or jeers. We erase the jeers. We don't even listen to the jeers. Questions, comments, or cheers. That number is 813-920-2508.
And Mark, before we get this ball rolling, should
Yep.
we go ahead and show the quick picture of Chet with his Tampa Native shirt?
Yes.
Let's do that. Let's get that out.
Let's do that, because
Yeah.
you know what?
Our great fan, Chet.
When we have, there he
This
is.
is our fans we're talking about.
Chet Yoakum. Chet and his wife Diane.
Diane Bennett Morris.
They're on a little holiday. They went to Wolf Trap National Park, which is somewhere in Virginia. Is that correct? Maryland. Look at that. We've got Harry Cohen, who's not even
He's been there.
introduced yet,
Confirmation.
who's yelling at us off camera. We love that. Live TV. Thank you, Harry. And the reason Harry knows is that is because Harry
been
has
there.
been
Been there,
there.
yeah.
So thank you, Chet. That's what
That's
you do with your
awesome,
Tampa
Chet.
Native shirt. When you get your Tampa Native shirt, you take it to some exotic location.
Yeah.
Take a photograph, and we will oblige you here on
we
the
will
Tampa
show
Native
it.
Show. We show it
we'd be
off
happy
for
to
all of
do
our
it.
fans to
Yeah.
enjoy. All right, let's come back, and if you'd like to, Mr. Eric Cups, bring up that 4-shot anytime you're ready. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to introduce to you our friend, our esteemed colleague, and City Councilman Harry Cohen. Harry.
Welcome.
Wow.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm very glad to be here
pleasure.
today.
No, it's wonderful, and should we tell everybody just how tenuous your attendance was today with the traffic and the weather and everything?
Well,
made
it
it.
was. You know, probably the biggest thing that would have delayed me was that we were in a city council meeting all day today.
Correct.
That didn't end until
170 items on the
about something like that. It didn't end until about 4 o'clock.
There you
so
go.
here we are.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we're
Hoorah.
so glad you're here. And of course, you know, this is in keeping with everything traditional here at the Tampa Native Show. We started out earlier in the season with Council Chair Charlie Miranda.
Miranda.
Thank you, Charlie Miranda, fumbling for the words. And then, of course, we had a couple of weeks ago Frank Reddick,
Frank Reddick.
dear friend Frank Reddick. And now
Harry Cohen.
Harry Cohen. And of course, Harry has met Sally, so
Yes,
we can
we
continue
have.
on with this conversation. Harry, District
4.
District 4, which is Palmacia, South Tampa.
Yes. It is basically most of South Tampa, east of Dale Mabry,
Okay.
and west of Dale Mabry, it is south of San Jose. Councilman Miranda has a good deal of the Beach Park area.
Gotcha. And everything that filters up kind of into the West Tampa area goes west and into downtown.
Correct.
But then
I have Davis Island and Harbor Island. Councilman Reddick has downtown.
There you go.
And going east into Ybor City.
Yours is a pretty densely populated area.
It is a densely populated area. It has very high voter turnout. It of course has MacDill Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of very active and passionate neighborhood associations that
Yes.
are very outspoken on their own behalf.
Sure,
When
of
there are
course.
issues that affect them. And so there's always something interesting brewing.
Lots of second, third, and fourth generation Tampa natives that also live down there,
There
correct?
certainly are. You know, it's really interesting though. The whole area has changed so much. There are so many people from here, but yet there's so many people from other places as well, particularly in the Midwest and in the Northeast. And we really have
They found us, Harry.
we have an unbelievable melting pot. And I think the election results in Tampa, particularly the years when we have a presidential election, really underscore the degree to which our community is a microcosm of the country and very much a reflection of the way that the country is going. What's happening here very often mimics the larger trends in the country, I think.
Interesting.
That's fascinating.
That's good to
That
know.
is.
We always knew that, especially in Florida, as goes the I-4 corridor, typically goes, and that all. We like to think that it starts here. Orlando probably has a different opinion, but we know that Hillsborough, Tampa being the county seat, is very, very important in political parlance as far as what happens in the state.
I think there are a lot of things that make us very special and very representative. One of the things about Orlando, with all due respect, they rely much more on tourism than a normal city across the country. Where there are things about them with Disney World and the attractions that they have there that make them a little bit different. I think that we really capture something about where America is at any given time. And you can tell it by the conversations that you hear. You can tell it at City Council, where what I see us doing oftentimes very closely mimics what I sense is happening in the rest of the country.
On a national scale.
Yeah.
Well, and that goes all the way back to the earliest days. And by the way, all due respect to Orlando, we don't care about Orlando here. Because this is called the Tampa Native Show. But with respect,
do you have to be born in Tampa to be?
No.
Let me clarify.
I came when I was 4.
Yeah, let me clarify that because it's important.
That's
to
come
do
up in the past.
And we've done this
Yes.
on occasion. We have to reset the dials to let everybody know. And as we gain market share, I love the way that sounds.
That's
Steve.
market
As we gain
The stock.
that's a TV term. As we gain audience, and we do each and every week, we bring in a new guest, and the new guest has his own network of
Friends,
realm of influence, if you want to look at it that way, sphere of influence. And those people look in on us, and a lot of them like it, and they come back every Thursday. And so as our audience grows, we've got to consider that. Where was I going with this, Steve?
Well, it was mainly, what was it?
What was I saying?
It was,
Who knows?
Harry, help me
Who
out.
knows?
Because
You were talking about the rules of who gets to be
here
on
we
the
go.
program
Tampa Native, that's
and
right.
whether or
Thank
not
you.
there was a birth requirement.
Thank
Yes.
you. There is no birth requirement.
Nativity.
I'll say it just like this, and simply put. The show is a fond remembrance of a Tampa that no longer exists. And by that I mean, Harry, the Tampa of the 1950s, the Tampa of the 1960s, 70s, and even before for those that are a little bit older. Those that can remember the 40s and even 30s.
Right.
Let's just say this. If you were born in Atlanta, Georgia, for example, and came here when you were 2 years old, and you were raised here, you're a Tampa native.
Yeah.
Because
all
somebody
your
who
schooling
who
here.
was born in Tampa. Let me reverse this and say somebody who was born in Tampa but moved to Honolulu, Hawaii when they were 6 months old.
Yeah.
And they were raised on the islands. They're Hawaiian. Yeah, they're Hawaiian.
They have no memories of Tampa.
So if perhaps we'll give you an extra jelly bean if you are a descendant of those original settlers that came here from Sicily, from Cuba, from Spain. We'll give you your props because they were the original settlers. But to be a part of our group, you just have to have a fond remembrance of Tampa, and you have to have a healthy respect, I think, for Tampa, because we battle with this. Councilman Cohen, I'll use the professional official term. Councilman Cohen, we battle with this each and every week here at the Tampa Native Show. Steve, you know where I'm going with this?
I do.
I already know.
Sit tight. We battle with this because
Our last
we
nerve.
appreciate the influx of the people that have come here from the Midwest and the Northeast that have found us now, and that make us the ever-growing cosmopolitan area that we've become. But we can't lose sight of the fact that we are Tampa first before we are Tampa Bay. Because we say it here on the show, and Councilman, you have to toe this line with us, or you might be leaving the set early. The reality is, Tampa Bay is where we went fishing and crabbing when we were kids. Tampa's where we live now. I understand marketing, and I understand we're in the 17th largest market in the nation, and growing each and every week. But it's a little disingenuous of us to be sitting here as keepers of the stories, and not be able to. And we've said this. We had Dale Swope on here recently, and we asked him, is it even possible that 25, 35, 50 years from now, when most of us won't be here, I'll still be here, but most of us won't be here.
I'll still be here.
That somebody might just get their nerve up and try to raise the issue of a petition to the city, and even more emotion on the floor of the city council, to change the name of the city officially from Tampa to Tampa Bay. Now, everybody from Frank Riddick to Charlie Miranda has scoffed at the idea and said that's poppycock. It won't happen. What say you, sir?
Well, I can guarantee you it won't happen ever with the current council.
Okay.
And it's almost unimaginable to even fathom something like that happening. It's really ridiculous.
Okay.
But, we've seen other ridiculous things.
Oh,
yes,
we have.
and that's my
so
point.
it's not, in today's world, you can never push something aside as being so insane that it will never actually
we're there.
see
We're
the light
living
of day.
Right.
But I have to tell you, I think it really is a preposterous notion.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Let me say that I have a great deal of respect for Councilman Miranda.
Yes.
And one of the things that he's always been very clear about is that Tampa Bay is a body of water, and Tampa is a rich, living, breathing entity that has a history.
Yes,
and
it's an organism with life. Yes.
And those are two very different things.
Well said.
Very good.
Well said.
Very good.
nice.
And we will ring a bell on that.
You can sleep better now.
And we'll just move right on ahead.
Not to say that I don't think that it was a good thing for the city of Tampa when the St. Petersburg newspaper changed their name to reflect the region.
Right.
I just don't necessarily want to see Tampa institutions doing the same thing.
Well, I feel like, and
agree.
I felt like since the beginning that, and we're getting a little bit off track, but we'll come right back. St. Petersburg, our neighbors to the west, beautiful beaches. We know this, and that's arguably what they promote through their tourism and their trade. An arts district that's live and vibrant as well. But we think, they had such an amazing newspaper with their name on it. Why would they have taken to try to morph into something otherworldly and try to market themselves and position themselves and use the phrasing Tampa Bay just because it has become a model of sort where now people are saying, Tampa Bay's #1 television station, Tampa Bay is this, Tampa Bay's that.
Yeah.
And if you go to buy a ticket currently on Southwest Airlines,
It says to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
It does.
and I'm wondering, are they landing? They got pontoons on those things?
I always wonder which airport I'm going to. If I'm
Right.
going to Tampa, or if I'm going to Brooksville,
Thank
or
you.
St. Petersburg.
Thank you.
or
Thank you.
Who knows? Sarasota, Bradenton.
I just said we need to be careful, be real precise, because you know what, our brothers and sisters that live in Clearwater and St. Pete, they're kind of forgotten in all this mess because we coined that phrase Tampa Bay, and all of a sudden we don't talk about them anymore.
Right.
So we need to be
Let's-
very, very understanding.
And those of us that live here, I think, are acutely aware of the fact that the cities are all very, very different.
They
They
are.
have different personalities.
Yes.
They have very different politics,
cultures.
and strengths and weaknesses that are different.
Correct.
Certainly, though, Tampa has the richest ethnic, multicultural,
Cultural mix.
diverse,
Agreed. Yes.
diverse history.
Yes.
There's no question about
Yeah.
that.
Now, sitting as City Council Chair Pro Tem, does that mean that when Council Chair Miranda leaves his post that you're taking the position of chairman next?
Correct. Well, no. What it means is that when Councilman Miranda gets up to leave his post during the regular meetings, he hands the gavel to me, and I run the meeting until he returns.
Okay. When he does, I believe he's going to be termed out after this term currently, correct?
He's termed out of his West Tampa seat, but he is eligible to run for a citywide at-large seat.
Very good.
And of course, Councilwoman Mulhern's seat will be available
as she moves into the
county commission race.
Got it.
Right.
So I hope that we'll see Councilman Miranda with us on council for a long time to come.
Good,
great.
Good.
I am not looking forward to his retirement.
No, I was only going to say because I think that you would make an excellent chair as well.
Oh well, I appreciate that, but I have to tell you,
and you didn't pay me to say that.
He does such an outstanding job of running the meetings. It is a very, very stressful, I think is the wrong word, but it's a fast-paced, very intense environment, and it's very, very important that whoever has the gavel uses it fairly and make sure that they give each council member their due to say what's on their mind and ask their questions. And I really do think that his great strength is that he's able to do that, and he's able to inject a little humor sometimes when things get intense and dicey and not always pleasant.
Lighten it up.
At times,
that's good to have that.
Needs to be lightened up.
At times, that gallows humor does go a long way.
It does.
And you know what? We've seen him work. We've seen him because I've been in chambers when he's been doing this thing. And he's good.
You know, much of what we do is land use related.
Yes.
And land use is very, very important. When someone is coming in to talk about something that affects their neighborhood, they feel very strongly about that. And they expect their elected officials to be paying attention to them, to have read the material, to understand the issues that are at stake, and I think to be fair and impartial and do their best to judge the situation as best they can.
Agreed. You know, now we're already getting phone calls, which is amazing.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're going to get to those in just a minute, but we also want to make sure that we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. We want to talk a little bit about, before we get into city council business, and who knows where these calls are going to lead us, but we also want to talk a little bit about Harry Cohen, the little guy. You know, the little guy.
The Tampa guy.
The Tampa guy.
Okay.
And we want to tie all of that into your Tampa story, because the nice part about these shows is that the University of South Florida is archiving all of our content on their website server, and we now have an esteemed position there alongside the Pizzo collection and the Gunsmark collection and all those wonderful collections of family histories that will live on into perpetuity. So you're telling us your story, Harry, and this will live on forever and ever.
Okay. Well,
so
you know, I do
embellish if you must.
I do think it's important to tell certain stories because, you know, I look around and I sometimes wonder how many people are going to remember Moss Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know, as time passes and things recede into memory, you know, these things get lost unless someone talks about them a little bit.
That's
our
our
job.
job.
Talk hours about those things.
So I will tell you very briefly, I was born in Tampa in the main hospital at St. Joseph's Hospital. My mother is from Cincinnati, Ohio, and my father grew up in St. Petersburg. And they met at the University of Florida because my father would give my mother rides to Tampa where her aunt lived. My mother spent a lot of time with her aunt and uncle who did not have children, and my father would drop her off there, and that's how they got to know each other. And once they got married, they actually settled in Tampa. And one of the things that I brought with me today is this calendar from Edward I. Case Plumbing, which was my uncle's plumbing company, which was located at 4501 South McDill Avenue. This calendar is from January of 1947.
Show it right into that.
This camera here.
Harry, right here.
Oh, here we go.
There you go.
It's from January of 1947, and what's particularly significant about it is two things. The first is that, of course, Case Plumbing is still in business,
which is amazing.
Many generations of owners later. But also, my mother lives on a house contiguous to that property today. So that property's been in our family for a long, long time.
Sure.
And of course is right in the middle of the district that I represent.
Wonderful.
So
a lot of history there.
That's pretty cool.
Sort of a neat thing.
Yeah.
Now, what about Mays Fabrics? You talked about a little earlier.
Yeah, so my dad's family opened a fabric company on Franklin Street in the late 1950s. And my grandfather was Mays Fabrics, and he was across the street from his good friend Eli Blumenfeld, who was Fabric King. And basically, you know, they were probably the two leading textile retailers in the state of Florida for a long period of time when people sewed their own clothes and sewed their own curtains, sewed their own tablecloths, reupholstered their own furniture.
Everything.
You know, all the things that sort of happened before before everything was imported from
Before big
China,
bucks.
and it's no longer cost effective to make your own clothing, but it was. And one of my favorite memories growing up was during the summers. I used to work for my grandfather, and I worked on the delivery truck, making fabric deliveries to the stores, and I really got to learn about the state of Florida in a way that I never would have otherwise, because I was constantly getting on the truck and going to Winter Haven and DeLand and Daytona Beach and Naples and Port St. Lucie and Mobile and Mobile's not Florida, but Pensacola, all these different places. And it really gave me a sense of how diverse the state of Florida is, and how much different it is in the interior than it is on the coast. It's really something that I think a lot of people come to visit Florida. They go to Disney World and they go to the beach. They might go to Ybor City for dinner.
That's
or
what they do.
when they're in Tampa. But to really go out to Winter Haven and Auburndale and Avon Park, you see a really different part of the state.
A lot of perspective you get.
A lot of perspective.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Can we take a quick phone call?
Sure.
Yeah,
Because I know that these nice folks have been waiting for a little bit. They want to talk to you. Well, thank you for letting everybody know that. You're not supposed to share with them. Honey, this is live TV now.
Stuff happens.
Yeah, it does.
Go ahead.
Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hey guys, it's David Benito calling.
Yes.
Hey, there he is.
David
Hey,
Benito
David.
calling from Davis Island, right in the heart of Mr. Cohen's district.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I wanted to kind of comment on what you were talking about at the top of the show about the Tampa versus Tampa Bay, the Tampa City versus Tampa Bay region.
Yes.
I kind of have a unique perspective on it because I know, Mari, we've discussed this kind of, you know what a very, very proud Tampa native I am.
Yes.
But my father, who had a very successful ad agency for many, many, many years in Tampa, was one of the catalysts that, when he was very active with the Chamber of Commerce, that got the Tri-County area to be classified as one media market. And that, I don't know if he coined the phrase Tampa Bay, but he
We don't want to hang that on your father. We don't want to hang that on your father.
No,
He was a good man.
And, I always, I never say I'm from Tampa Bay. I always say I'm from Tampa. And what I like now is that the broadcasters of the baseball games and of the Rays and the Bucks, they used to say, we're coming to you from Tampa Bay, or, now they say, the Rays were in St. Pete.
Correct.
The Bucks say we're in Tampa.
They're being a little more careful now. They realize, at least at that level they do. John Q. Citizen probably doesn't have that nuance down yet, but we got to keep beating that drum so that they don't forget. The problem, I think, we've talked about it, Davian, is because we played for so many years in the NFC Central against NFC North against teams like the Green Bay Packers, and the Green Bay, of course, is the proper name of a city. So when it was always the Battle of the Bays, it just, people across the nation, they don't get it.
It really wasn't until the Bucks that I think the term
that's correct.
Tampa Bay.
In Tampa Bay Mall.
And Tampa Bay Mall.
Tampa Bay Mall.
Came after that.
About the same time.
Although
Tampa Bay Center. I think.
Tampa Bay Center, you're right.
Tampa Bay Center.
That's a bell. That's a bell.
One for Harry right there. He punked you on live TV, on your own show. Davian, give us your Bolita number, please.
46, please.
46 it is. Join us at one of our upcoming events. We always love to see you there, partner.
I will, Benny. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Bye,
much,
Davian.
Davian.
Bye-bye.
You know what? You mentioned a newspaper earlier. What is this here?
Well, I brought this with me because I just love it. This is the last edition ever published of the original Tampa Times, and this is from August 14th, 1982.
A great newspaper, by the way.
Yes, and it's amazing that we've come full circle. We now have the Tampa Bay Times, but this was, of course, the original Tampa Times. And the reason that I brought it with me is I've had it all these years. I was 12 years old when this was published, and I remember distinctly going out to 7-Eleven and buying this copy of the paper
I'll be darned.
because I knew it was something that I'd want to hold on to and that I'd want to have a copy of. And one of the things I really love about it is the skyline of the city as it looked
look at that.
in 1982. You can really see how much it's changed and grown.
Yep.
That was a good movie made.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish I had done that.
Well, we all loved the Tampa Times because it came in the afternoons. It was your afternoon read. They threw that paper in the afternoons.
I should say something, though, that I think is so terrific about Tampa. We are a two-newspaper. We're really a more than a two-newspaper because we have La Gazzetta and the Sentinel Bulletin.
And Patrick was on the show not too long ago.
Absolutely. But we are one of the last true two morning newspaper cities in America. We are a city today that is supporting two major dailies that have separate editorial pages that say different things, have competing opinions, they have competing reporters, and I think it's a great thing for this community that we have so many voices.
Sure.
Not to mention all the
Creative
internet
loafing.
newspapers
And creative loafing.
loafing and all the different things that have popped up. But it's a tremendous honor for this city to still have two newspapers being delivered to people's doors in the morning to give them a difference of opinion.
I didn't realize we were the last city. Yeah.
Well, we're not the last city, but we're one of the, New York has four
They're
papers.
disappearing.
Right.
But cities our size, cities our size don't have two newspapers anymore. New Orleans has a half of a paper.
Yeah, the Picayune.
You know, so something to be proud of.
Something to be very proud of.
That is.
And we've always kind of considered ourselves, even going back to the days of the cigar factories with the lectores, we've always considered ourselves to be on that progressive tilt. You know, Tampa's always kind of been forward-leaning in the sense that we want to always try to be pushing to get better and to get better.
Well, I sometimes think that we're hard on ourselves. And the fact of the matter is, a city that can support two morning newspapers is a city filled with intelligent people that care about their community. A city that has, like we do, land use hearings involving major pieces of property downtown has overflow crowds at City Hall because people care about the future.
Absolutely.
And no matter which side they're on, they care about it and they want to be heard and they want to participate in the process. It's a very, very wonderful thing.
So even though they make for long days, that passion, that energy kind of keeps you guys going on the other side of it.
Absolutely, no question about it.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Another call.
All right, caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Hugh from South Tampa.
Well, hey, there's Hugh from
Hugh.
South Tampa. Are you east or west of Dale Mabry there?
Well, I'm just a little bit east of Dale Mabry.
Oh, there you go. Well, you're also
in the district.
That's right. You're also in Councilman Cohen's district.
Yeah, and I do have a question for Harry Cohen.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think the chances are of the baseball team that currently plays in Tampa Bay of being dredged out of the Bay?
There you go.
Moved into Tampa, where they would be called the Tampa Rays, of course, and where they could come from Lakeland and Plant City, Brandon, and a much wider base and be more successful. What do you think the chances are of us getting the Tampa Rays?
You know, I honestly don't know. I know what I've heard, and it's probably a lot of what you've heard and read. There are a couple things I would say about it, though, just for people that are paying close attention to where this thing might go. The first is that it seems to me that Major League Baseball has not really tipped their hand in terms of what their preferences are. And I've really found myself wondering if Bud Selig has been talking to Las Vegas and Montreal and cities like that.
Right.
At Charlotte, I don't really know. The one thing I would say regarding a stadium in Tampa is that in order for I don't really know what the chances are that it might move. I think the first move will be up to St. Petersburg, the St. Petersburg City Council to allow the Rays to talk to a Hillsborough group. But if they were to decide to come to this side of the bay, in order for the city to be any type of a player in terms of putting any money into the deal, it would really have to be a downtown deal. And that raises a lot of questions. Where would it be? What would the transportation infrastructure look like that would need to get people to it? What would the city's contribution be compared to the private sector contributions? And I just think it's awfully early to be able to tell what that ultimate deal is going to look like. And without knowing what the deal will look like, it's very hard to predict whether or not there would be public support for it. Right. So those are some of the things that I see as swirling around the decision.
Hugh, if we could ask your opinion on it, would you prefer it to be downtown? Would you prefer it to be somewhere else? Do you have an idea what's best for Hugh?
I'm thinking the fairgrounds is going to be better as far as more area, more parking, more access. I would have loved for more Sani to have gotten it years ago, but that wasn't meant to be. It would have been perfect there, but that's done and gone.
Sure.
But I do think the fairgrounds is going to be the most practical area to put it and still be.
How about that shot, Hugh, that we use at the beginning of the show with the old Tampa Stadium right next to, butt up against Al Lopez Field? Wouldn't it have been something if somebody had had just a little pinch of forethought and put those two fields next to each other? Of course, with Steinbrenner Field there now, it's ensconced in its place, and that's not going to happen. But wouldn't that have been just an amazing complex to have had both of those fields
great.
Right there?
That would have been awesome, Mario.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, that little section of Dale Mabry, we're accustomed to getting people in and out of there in big numbers because of Raymond James and formerly Tampa Stadium. So I think it would have worked logistically as well. You know, we got to go back to the drawing board. But I, like yourself, Hugh, wish it to happen sooner than later. And then I'm going to go one step further, because we always do here at the Tampa Native Show. And I'd like to see, perhaps at the time that they do make the change to Tampa, and I believe they will, they consider a name change, as we've said before, and evoke the old Tampa Tarpons. Bring that back. Think of the marketing. Think of all the new jerseys. Think of all the new shirts they can sell.
More money.
Not to mention, if Miami stays there, you've got a great in-state rivalry with two tremendous fighting fish, the Tarpons and the Marlins. It just sets up perfectly.
That would be awesome.
It would be awesome.
And then somebody will wake me up and hand me a cup of coffee because breakfast is ready. All right, Hugh, did we get your Bolita number?
Not yet.
Nope.
I'll take my old standard of 23.
23 it is. Thank you, my good man. We
Nice to
appreciate
hear
your
from
call.
you,
Good to hear
Hugh.
from you, Hugh.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
too.
You too.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
well,
Steve.
Harry, changing gears a little bit, have a question about what was your favorite thing doing as a kid growing up in Tampa?
Swim.
There you go.
Was it swimming?
Oh.
To swim. It's a great question, because one of the things that I have really worked hard to do on council is to get
Is to swim.
resources to put into the city pools. Nobody
Yes.
wants me out in a bathing suit.
And we can talk about
We have a
women's
picture
pool
of
in
that.
just a minute.
We
Sure.
do have a picture. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
But no, actually, my favorite thing to do was to swim.
Like swim in lakes or
no,
pools?
in a
or?
swimming pool.
Okay.
Well, we had so many
And-
city pools too.
Well, I was about to say, my aunt used to take my brother and I. We used to go two places to swim. We went to the Bobby Hicks pool.
Sure, down by Robinson.
Down by Robinson. And then we also went to the old Jewish Community Center on Horatio,
Oh, yeah.
which
Yes.
is now like a piece of Memorial Hospital. And that pool is gone, but the Bobby Hicks pool is the exact same pool that we used to swim in. And one of the things that I've been working on with some of the neighborhoods down around Robinson High School in that area are some plans to do a major renovation
Overhaul.
of the pool.
Oh, that would be
That'd
wonderful.
great, yeah.
And just an odd sort of a strange thing about that pool. The pool is 1 inch short of being
Olympic.
Large enough to hold professional
wow.
competitions.
1 inch.
Olympic-
1 inch.
Olympic
and
size.
as you know,
How did that
They
happen?
put more concrete on it.
it's not like the kind of thing they can overlook.
I know,
If you
yeah.
don't have the space,
Right.
it's not an Olympic-sized pool.
That's amazing.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But
Who are the ad wizards?
we're gonna look and see what it would take
My
to
gosh.
change that.
That's
because
interesting.
there isn't a pool that
Yeah.
large anywhere in the city that can host those types of competitive meets.
And that-
so it
and,
would
you
be
know,
great to have that.
and with
Sure, that'd be
being a
great.
peninsula, water all around us. Water has
Yeah.
been a part of our life since we were youth.
Lakes,
why
pools.
don't we have an aquatic center that we can do something
Well,
with?
Right.
let me pick up on your
Please.
point. You know, it is so hot here during the summer.
You got that right.
And
How hot is it?
and-
As Johnny Carson would say, how hot
you
is
know,
it?
for kids to spend the day in the swimming pool
Yes.
is about the best possible
Oh,
place
absolutely.
that you can be.
Yeah.
And you know, aside the fact that it keeps people from getting into all kinds of other trouble.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that we really can take advantage of here because of our climate.
Sure.
And I just think it's a great way for people to be engaged with the city, to be using city pools. And I really, I was so excited when we opened the Williams Park pool
Yeah.
in Councilman Reddick's district a
I wish
few
we had that
weeks
picture.
ago.
We showed that photo.
It
We
was,
showed-
I know you did, and it was just such a great day, because those are the types of amenities that really make a city special.
Yes.
What a
I
wonderful
think so.
memory you had as a child, though. That's great.
And the fact that the pool is identical today to the one that I swam in
Every
makes
time you see it, yeah,
it makes
special.
it really neat to go
Yes.
down there. And actually, Charlie Miranda's name is on the plaque for the dedication of that
How
pool.
about that?
Because he was on the council at that time.
Wow.
You know, we think
Isn't that
we
something?
did a show a few months ago that dealt with summer vacations and where we went for summer
Oh,
vacations.
yes.
And
Yes.
most of us Didn't travel very far. We went maybe 30 miles to St. Pete Beach, and there were about 5 or 6 hotels that we all frequented. And you know, we
one
all
every
stayed
year.
at the same one every year.
Every
We
year.
went for the same week every year. But I think what made that so special, besides the fact that we were able to get away from the routine that we ordinarily lived our daily lives, was that we had
Water.
a swimming pool.
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
A big one.
and yeah, the ocean was always there, but then you'd go out in the ocean and play. But then the swimming pool was
Right.
the thing that was,
Yeah.
and the best part of the day was waking up in the morning real early, and grabbing your bathing suit that's still wet from the day before, and probably freezing cold. You didn't care. You slapped that thing on, and you couldn't wait to. And you were in the pool.
In your styrofoam inner tube.
Oh no, from 8 o'clock in the morning until sundown, because most of us.
Your fingers would be all
No,
wrinkled
yeah,
when you-
yeah.
we didn't
Like-
have
like
pools.
raisins.
Most of us didn't have pools. Let's just face
Right,
it.
right,
so,
right.
so anywhere time we could get in that water. So
Yeah.
I commend you for that. And you know what? That's very true.
That's true.
You know, when you're in the pool and you're just relaxing, or you're swimming around, you're getting activity, physical activity.
Oh, and,
And it
here's
keeps you out
two
of
really
trouble.
important points. Physical activity. We have an obesity epidemic in
Yeah,
this country.
we do. Yep.
What's better than to get people moving?
Right.
Okay.
Swimming.
And you know,
Maybe
it's
jumping off a little springboard, or you know, just to get moving.
Good
Stay
point,
moving, keep
good
moving.
point.
to get moving.
Yep.
So absolutely.
Good,
Right.
great,
You know,
great.
We have some pictures.
We
here,
should show the pictures.
Yeah, we
because-
should. 'Cause
listen, we just need
we're going to
to
run out of
zip,
time.
zip.
Let me just throw this out there for your consideration, as I like to say here on the Tampa Native Show.
You say that a lot.
Yeah, we're about 20 minutes before the end of the show, which means in about 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to do our bolita drawing. We'd like to get some more numbers, so please call us, even if it's just to give us your bolita number, because we're giving away, and I should mention it now, as we do here each week
have
and every
7
week.
right now.
This is something that's down in your district as well.
olive oil?
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe and Sons olive oil, 200 milliliters of infused balsamic vinegar or cold pressed olive oil to one lucky winner tonight. Also, Caragolillo coffee from the Caragolillo Coffee Mills in the Faedo family. We're giving away coffee tonight. Giving away 4 tickets to the Tampa Yankees game this Saturday. And what else are we giving
else?
away? What else do we have?
I think
We
your
have-
cell phone. right?
I'm giving away my cell phone. Apparently that's not enough. I'm giving away. No, I'm not giving away my cell phone. But so we do have those grand prizes to give away tonight. So please call in. We want
Call us
everybody
up.
to win.
And also, Ricky Acosta, he's sent in 13, but it's already taken, Ricky. So
Yes.
please send us another number.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And yeah,
And,
we'll put
and
that
I
in.
do, and don't let me forget. In just a couple of minutes, we had a call come into our comment line that I want to play.
that's
It's
right,
it's a
yeah.
wonderful call from Mr. Ronnie Martinez. We saved it for you so
Great,
that we
great.
can show that, or I can play that for you so you can hear it. And Ronnie, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, won our grand prize drawing, a $25 gift certificate to King Corona's Cafe and Bar in Ybor City, and he had a great time. And we want to play that for you in just a few minutes. So, Councilman Reddick.
Growing up.
Councilman Cohen.
Growing up.
Growing up in Tampa.
Yes.
Riding our bikes. Wait a minute now. Stay with me. Riding our bikes. Going to our friend's house and having sleepovers. Tremendous times. Swimming, like you said, swimming all day. You know, you get the ham and cheese sandwich or whatever. You take that down to the
Movies.
peanut butter and
Fishing.
jelly sandwich. The movies. The movies. Okay, these are things.
Air conditioning.
Air
Yeah,
conditioning.
exactly.
Anything indoors. Now
Big
here's
lemonade.
the other thing. Here's the other thing. And we're going to talk about this in a couple, 3 weeks when we have an open week where we just have a topic. Your family history speaks to this specifically
Yeah.
because you had 2 members in your family that had mom and pop businesses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of all
Okay?
sorts.
The fabric stores.
Everybody in my family had a family business.
Yes.
I mean that was the way that I
That
grew
was
up.
that's it. So you
So-
were very familiar with the ways of accounts payable, accounts receivable.
It's very, very important for people,
Practical.
for me, that people know that because we think of people that serve in government as being sort of somehow not aware of what goes on in
Business.
the private sector. And I was raised in such a small business oriented type environment where making the payroll and paying the bills and actually watching what was coming in and what was going out.
Right.
In the fabric stores, understanding that giving away a couple of extra inches every time you cut fabric could take the
Sure.
profit out of the entire
Yeah.
bolt.
Right.
Yeah.
So you learn that in concrete ways.
Where did the fabric come from?
It came from all over, but what was really interesting was my grandfather bought a lot of seconds and overruns and
Mill-ends.
and what they would do is they would bring it all to Tampa on trucks. They would unload it, and they would actually go through it, and they would actually inspect every bit of it, and they would
Wow.
cut out the bad,
Yeah.
and salvage the good. And then actually fold it and label it
Sure.
so that it
Yeah.
could be sold as a remnant. That was where almost all of it came from.
Wow. Well, we're going to do that show because
That's
Steve
gonna be a
and
fun
I,
show.
and Sally were talking just the other day, and what an amazing, I mean, when you think about it, there's so many different genres. You know, whether it was the mom and pop hardware store, or the grocery stores,
Pharmacy.
or the pharmacies,
Orange
or
stands.
the orange stands, or the
Liquor store.
even the liquor stores,
could be anything.
or the
department
the
stores.
department
Ybor City,
stores. Thank you.
The small
Dry
store,
cleaners.
the dry
it was
cleaners.
everything.
Absolutely.
It was everything.
Everything was mom and pop
Yeah.
before the big boxes.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it went from the department stores like the McCrory's and the Cresses, and then it went to maybe a little bit bigger, the JM Fields and the Zayres.
And I'm going to tell you something. This may not be a popular thing to say, but I really do feel that internet sales should be taxed. Because I will tell you that I think it's very unfair. I think it's very unfair for someone that owns a shop to employ people and pay rent and pay utilities and insurance and sales tax and all the different expenses that come along with operating a business, only to be undercut by an operation out of state that can afford to not have to do any of those things. And you know, we're chipping away at people's ability to start businesses the longer we allow that to go forward. So.
Well, we're chipping away at the show right now because we're at that 15-minute
Oh, no,
level
she
mark.
didn't. That 15-minute girl.
She did it again.
She got us again. That's how she got her name. You see, Harry? That's how she got it. 15-minute mark. She always lets us know, and she's done it again. So here we are.
We are.
Well, what an amazing story.
See how fast it goes.
You know, Tampa has affected all of our lives in so many different ways, and we feel a sort of a special kinship with our grandfathers. You know, those that were here before us that struggled because, man, it wasn't easy back in those early days. It was almost like frontier times. It was pioneer times. You know, it was a hard-scrabble town at the very, very outset with Ybor and the cigar industry. And, of course, thank goodness for our merchants. And, you know, it came together in such a way. But
it was a wonderful time.
We need to make sure that we don't just turn our back on all of that history, make sure that we preserve a lot of it.
I think that Tampa is such a colorful place. To me, it's
sight,
the
sound,
stories,
smells, all the senses.
The stories are so colorful.
Yes.
You know, I have been back here since law school for over 15 years, and the first job that I had when I came back was working for Barry Cohen, the criminal defense lawyer, who's not a relative.
No relation.
Of mine,
okay.
Even though we spell our names the same way, and I mean, talk about somebody that. Really, talk about an office that was at the center of everything that was going on in town. Where, you know, every day was a new adventure. That was really it. So I definitely got sort of a crash course in some of the local color when I went to work with him.
Baptism by fire.
That's right. I did.
Forged in the offices of Barry Cohen. That's pretty good stuff.
You want to run through some of these photos real quick?
Yeah, we
should better do it now. In fact,
let's do it.
Let's do, Eric, if we can. Picture of the Week, we'll start with that, and this is the Picture of the Week segment on the Tampa Native Show. Brought to you by the University of South Florida Special Collections.
What a great picture.
Picture chosen by Andy Hughes, librarian of the Special Collections. So this is an amazing picture because it shows all the aspects of Tampa. You see the Cuban bread, the lights, you have the Spanish dancers in the background.
Palm trees.
It speaks Tampa, doesn't it?
I can almost smell that Cuban bread.
You can almost smell it. That's amazing.
Show us that photograph
of
Harry coming back. Was it coming back from, or was it on the tarmac in Cuba?
Well, let's see.
It's the Cuba trip, number 4.
I think it was on the way. I think
Here
it was right when we were about to leave. And
what's happening there?
Well, that is the trip that I took in May with the Greater Tampa Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And a few of my council colleagues, Mary Mulhern and Yvonne Yoli-Capine, went along with
I think I see Mary there.
Judy Genshaft and Joe Lopano from the airport and people from the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh.
It was really a wonderful, wonderful group of citizens from Tampa and the Chamber that went on the trip. And we went, frankly, to start to understand what types of opportunities might be out there for Tampa should America's policy toward Cuba ever change.
Right. Good
And
question.
rather than getting into a question about the appropriateness of the policy, what we were really trying to look to was, you know what, 10 years down the road, or whenever it's going to be, it might be sooner, might be later, whenever it happens, what is it going to mean for our community? And I think all of us felt what's it going to mean for Tampa. And all of us saw just tremendous opportunities for all kinds of initiatives and innovation, from being a travel gateway, from being a cruise ship gateway to Key West, Havana, and then New Orleans. I mean, remaking the Gulf of Mexico as a tourist destination that it really isn't yet today for cruise ships.
How far away are we from that?
I don't know how far away we are from it. I think that part of it is the continued existence of the Castro brothers. I think that's clearly an impediment. There's also, a very different feeling about the relationship in Miami, and that feeling has tended to affect national policy pretty strongly.
That's true too.
I'm not really sure how long it's going to be, but I think that the question is going to ultimately be when. And when it finally happens, I think it's incumbent on Tampa businesses and Tampa leaders to be ready and have a plan. Have a plan to make sure that Tampa is the gateway to Cuba.
Because history being what it is, we were first. We were first.
We absolutely
we've already
have
done
history.
this. We've already done this.
And there will be a time, whether the embargo is lifted or not, there's going to be a lot of college students and religious organizations making trips down there, even under the existing rules.
Yes,
and
they do now.
To whatever degree
currently.
we can, we should encourage them to go out of Tampa.
Yes.
It's a very, very fast flight. It's an easy trip. We have an international terminal here now where people can come in very, very easily. We ought to be the gateway.
When back 2 years ago, September 10th, when I was still flying at the time, I worked the inaugural flight from Tampa to Havana. It was an American Airlines flight that left every Saturday out of TIA, and I worked that inaugural flight. And I tell you what, it was over before you knew it. It was a very short flight. It was very quick, very easy, and I can imagine what it would be like to get on a boat and be able to cruise down there. That would be so.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And connect me with my great grandparents.
I would be remiss if I did not say that I think Congresswoman Castro has shown tremendous courage in taking on this issue and in being very vocal and outspoken about it because she sees the potential for Tampa.
Yes.
And I would also say that my good friend Pat Frank, who I worked for many years as clerk of the when she was clerk of the court, and I was her chief deputy. She was down there with the Port Authority in the late '90s, already trying to see what could be done.
It'll get done.
Harry,
it's going to get done.
People have seen it, and it needs to happen at some point.
And Tampa needs to lead the way, even more so than Miami. It's ours.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the geography makes perfect sense. When you fly there, it was funny when I came back. The St. Pete Times, I should say the Tampa Bay Times.
No, you heard it right
wrote
the first
an article
time.
about our trip, and they wrote that I was surprised at how close Cuba was to Tampa. And in fact, it really wasn't that I was surprised that it was close. It was that when you take off from Havana and you look out the window after 20 minutes and you're looking at Fort Myers, that's when it drives home to you that you've been halfway around the world in 45 minutes. And that's a little bit of it's a time-space thing to get your arms around.
It's a time-space continuum. Let's get to, let me do real quick. We've got about 5 minutes to go. Harry, this has been an amazing hour. And I want to do this.
It went fast.
It did.
It's almost over. I want to do this so that our fans can enjoy this. This is from Ronnie Martinez. He sent this to us, and it's just a big thank you to Don Barco and the crew over at King Coronas. Everybody give a listen. Ronnie, I hope this comes out good. I know it will.
Hello to the Japanese family. Mario, this is Ronnie Martinez. I just wanted to thank you for that nice prize that I won last week, the $25 gift certificate to King Corona. I actually got down there last Friday. My wife and myself made it there, and we got to meet Don. What a great person. And let me tell you, I have been smoking cigars for years, Mario, and that is by far the finest cigar shop I have ever been in. Very upscale. It's a complete cigar bar. It's got coffee, they've got Wi-Fi, they've got clothing, and they've got a fine selection of cigars. You can sit right there on 7th Avenue and enjoy yourself a nice, fine cigar. Anyway, again, Mario, thank you so much, and thank you to Don and the King Corona group. And one more thing before I go Rays.
There you go.
That's awesome. That's a great call.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Nice.
Thanks for taking the time. You see, very high tech here at the Tampa Native
well,
Show. Spare no expense.
If it works, it works.
It does work. It does work. Okay.
Ricky Acosta, 13. 23.
Before
I'm
we run
sorry.
out of time,
Big Mike Padrenin.
Harry, this
Oh, no,
one's for
it's
you.
already taken.
Okay.
23?
Yeah.
Let's
Let's
give
go
him,
ahead and give away.
let's give him 24.
24.
What-
Ricky, you have 24 if you don't mind.
Ricky Acosta.
Big Mike Padrenin, 42.
First things
from Orlando.
first. What do you think, guys? The olive oil. You want to go with the olive
42.
oil?
Let's do the olive oil.
Olive oil first?
Yeah,
Okay.
why not?
This is for Joe and Sons, 200 milliliters. Get in there, pick you a good one. Pick you a good one. Come on, Harry.
Bottle here.
B3.
3.
Bingo.
Bingo. 3. Who's 3? It's either Keith or Joe on the money.
It's Joe Abini.
Joe and
He
Keith
wins
win just
every
about every week. This is about their 15th bottle of oil.
They're going to drown. They're going to drown in olive oil here.
They are. They're going to save
Floating
them all.
away in olive oil.
This is for
And now?
a pound of Caracoligo coffee. Go ahead.
B13.
13. That would be Cindy Baluha.
All right, on the money.
She won last week, too.
Mike won last week, the coffee, so that's 2 pounds of coffee. Go over there and get you. And for the grand prize, 4 tickets to the Tampa Yankees game, which is this Saturday. Harry, get you a good one now.
All right. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Okay.
If he pulls out B16, I'm going to...
G46.
G46.
Closest two without going over.
Good.
Actually, it was Mike Baluha, not Cindy. Oh, right on the money. Davian Benito.
Davian Benito.
Congrats, Davian.
There you go.
And all 3 of those are in your district. That's beautiful.
You know, Harry, one day...
Can't get any better than that. Inside job.
One day, Bob Buckhorn called into the show, and we asked him before he left, Mr. Mayor, did you give us your
bleeding number?
Yeah, your lucky bleeding number. He says, is that legal?
He was going to send the boys down here to come talk to us. Well, we just want to say thank you again, Harry. And listen,
Yes.
will you come back and do the show some other time?
Of course, I'd love to.
That'd be great.
Because we only scratched the surface, man. And you know, your enthusiasm, your passion, your energy, it comes
more to
through.
tell.
And there's
Well,
much more to tell.
You know, it's a great time in Tampa right now.
Yeah.
We're really on the, you know, I was saying earlier what a microcosm we are of the rest of the country, but here's the really good news about that. We are seeing the economic recovery that is happening across the country. We're seeing it here in Tampa. We are seeing it when we have city council meetings that go as long as we did today, because people are opening businesses, they're
Good.
developing
That's
property, they're putting money into the economy, and we want to see that, and we want to help them do it.
That is
you have fun here?
great news.
I had a great time.
Good.
Good.
How much time
Good,
do we
good.
have?
1
Got
minute.
about 1 minute.
1 minute,
Papa.
okay.
Yeah,
I have a
1
question, but it's not gonna fit in 1 minute.
Well, then we'll wait.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
we'll do that.
You can lead off the next time.
That's right. That's
Exactly,
right. Save
exactly.
that. So, and don't forget, we're going to be also this Saturday at the Tampa Yankees season ender at Steinbrenner Field, and that information is up on our website as well as on our Facebook page. So, let me just say, for all of you out there watching each and every week, thank you so much for being there with us. You know, this hour just flew by. Harry, we suffer this
Like a minute.
each and every week. We should have got an extra 30 minutes for you. Next time we will, I promise. All right, guys. On behalf of Eric Cups, who's sitting in the booth doing all his things with the knobs and the switches and the buttons, and Tampa Steve and the 15-minute girl, of course, this is Harry Cohen, Tampa native. I'm Mario Nunez. Salute,
Salute.
and
And
happy
happy days.
days. We love you, Tampa.
Yes, we do.
See you next week.
Thanks, Harry.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Harry.
Back when we were younger and everything seemed new, we used to have a lot of fun, yes we did, no matter what we do. Sleepy days, long summer nights, going anywhere we please, with love that I could call my own, love that I've always known, the city that I call my home, a home from which I never roam. This love affair was meant to be. I love her and she loves me. I remember Tampa, oh, she remembers me. She remembers me. I remember, yeah, yes I do. Oh, I remember, yeah, me and you. I'm a Tampa native, Tampa native, can't you see? I will share my story with you to preserve its history.
All right now, don't forget, Thursdays, 7 p.m. on TBCN, home of the Tampa Native Show.